Thank you for coming for the Srimad Bhagavatam Saturday, reading 4th Canto, 29th chapter, text 34. Naikanta tatha pratikaraha karmanam karma kevalam dvayam hi avidyopaspistam swapne swapna eva nagaha. No, never. Ekantakaha. Ultimately. Pratikaraha. Counteraction. Karmanam. Of different activities. Karma. Another activity. Kevalam. Only. Dvayam. Both. Hey. Because. Avidya. Due to illusion, upaspristam, accepted, swapne, in a dream, swapnaha, a dream, like, eva, like, anaga, oh you who are free from sinful activities. Translation, Narada continued, if you are free, O you who are free from all sinful activity, no one can counteract the effects of fruitive activity simply by manufacturing a different activity devoid of Krishna consciousness. All such activity is due to our ignorance. When we have a troublesome dream, we cannot relieve it with a troublesome hallucination. One can counteract a dream only by waking. Similarly, our material existence is due to our ignorance and illusion. Unless we are awakened to Krishna consciousness, we cannot be relieved of such dreams. For the ultimate solution to all problems, we must awaken to Krishna consciousness. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. There are two kinds of fruitive activity. We can place the burden on the head or we can place it on the shoulder. Actually keeping the burden in either place is the same. The transferal, however, is taking place under the name of counteraction. In this connection, Prahlad Maharaj said, these fools and rascals in the material world plan so gorgeously for bodily comfort without knowing that such arrangements, even if successful, are only maya. People are working hard day and night for the illusory happiness of the body. This is not a way to achieve happiness. One has to get out of this material entanglement and return home back to God. That is real happiness. The Vedas therefore enjoin, don't remain in the darkness of this material world. Tamasima, Jyotirgama. Is that? Go to the light of the spiritual world. To counteract the distress of the material body, one has to take on another distress condition. Both situations are only illusion. There is no gain in taking on one trouble to counteract another trouble. The conclusion is that one cannot be perpetually happy as long as one exists in this material world. The only remedy is to get out of this material world altogether and return home back to Godhead. Omagyanatimirandasya ginanam ginakshilakaya chakshudin militam yena tasmai Shri Guruve namaha Shri Chaitanya manobhishtam saktitam yena bhutale Swayam rupa gadamam dadati swaparandikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padagamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamcha Shri Rupa Sadvitam Shavadutam Bhajanam Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakanvitam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Shuka Devi Pranamami Hare Priya Vancha Kalpataru Vyascha Kripa Sindhubheva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Sunyavadi Paschatya Desadarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Shri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So again, thank you for coming on. So we are reading Canto 4, Chapter 29, Text 34. Narada Muni is continuing. We left off from the verse yesterday, the last class. Just to recap here, a man may carry a burden on his head. When he feels it too heavy, he sometimes gives relief to his head by putting the burden on his shoulder. And this way he may try. In this way he tries to relieve himself of the burden. However, whatever process he devises to counteract the burden does nothing more than put the same burden from one place to another. So this is the verse that Narada was speaking prior to this. So we have explained what this burden is in the previous class. So this material world, when a person comes in here, he gets entangled. He gets entangled. So in order to come out of this entanglement, the only way is to become Krishna conscious. Sometimes a person can see now what's happening is that he entangles himself with one woman. Some or other the relationship doesn't go well. Then he thinks that he should be better with another woman. Yes? In this way he keeps trying things that finally he will find some Miss Perfect. Or she will find a Mr. Perfect. But it's not going to happen. The only perfect person is Krishna. Right? So if you try to do anything other than that, it will only end up in misery and trouble. As it says, many times we have shown this verse, no? Yes? What is that verse? You know, anyone? Or let us go to the Bhagavad Gita first and find out so that you will remember easier. When you do an activity not in accordance with Krishna, it only gave you more and more entanglement. What is the verse? Let the others try first. Huh? What is the verse in the Bhagavad Gita? It says that if you do an activity not in Krishna consciousness, it keeps you get more and more entangled. Anyone? Huh? What verse?
4:14.
Huh?
4:14.
4:14. Very good. Let's see what is this 4:14. Karmani limpante, I think. Yes? Nama karmani limpante. That was, yeah. Namam karmani limpante, name karma palesh priha, iti mam yo vijanante, karma birna sabhajyate. This is not quite the verse. So if you go to Krishna, you become disentangled. This is it. But what is the word that shows you get entangled more and more? Huh? All the pandits are sitting here and nobody. 9-3. No, so that's faith more. 3-9. So try to remember this 3-9. Right? This verse is something you must remember, huh? Yajnanartha karmano nayatra lokayam karma bandhanaya tar artham karma kaunteya mukta shanga samacharaha. Work done as a sacrifice for Vishnu has to be performed. Otherwise, work causes bondage in this material world. Therefore, son of Kanti, perform your prescribed duty for his satisfaction, and in that way you will always remain free from bondage. With one, some more? 316. 316. Good. I think you must remember all this. I quote this many times. My dear Arjuna, one who does not follow in human life the cycle of sacrifices established by Vedas certainly leads a life full of sin. Living only for satisfaction of senses, such a person lives in vain. So if you do work for sense gratification, not following the rules and regulations laid out by Krishna, it only brings you to a life full of sin. And living in this kind of a manner, such a person lives in vain. What other verses? Bhagavad Gita. What other verses? Hare Krishna. Attending so many classes, Prabhu? Basic? Hello? Panditji?
5:22.
5? 5 2022 is not quite the place. They are not interested in external. Those persons who execute their duties according to my injunctions and who follow this teaching faithfully without envy become free from the bondage of fruitive action. This is exactly what Namam Karma Nilibhante. But the next verse, I see here, but those who out of envy disregard these teachings and do not follow them regularly are to be considered bereft of all knowledge, befooled and ruined in their endeavors for perfection. So in other words, if you work against the teachings of the Lord, then you're going to be bereft from knowledge, befooled and ruined in the endeavors for perfection. So you cannot do things against the order of Krishna. So that's what we are trying to do here. We are forgetting Krishna and we are trying to make all kind of material adjustments. Right? So any adjustment outside this teaching cannot work. It says also here, yeah? 1858. Yeah. Before we go there, we go here. Thus perplexed by various anxieties and bound by a network of illusions, they become too strongly attached to sense enjoyment and fall down into the earth. They said in 16th chapter, they don't know what to do, what not to do. They simply do something which will mess up the whole thing. You know? So you can see all these verses, they say that an activity which is not done for Krishna, it will entangle us and we will become bewildered. You know. It's not that you do, you will find a solution. It's not like that. It's not that, I'm going here. Yeah, Maya will lead you. Yes, she will lead you on and you will become bewildered. It says here, when you follow Maya, you will become disillusioned. You don't know what to do, what not to do. That's how Maya works. Maya works to trick us. See? Moga asha, moga karmana, moga jnana vishetasa, rakshasim asuram chaiva, prakitim mohinim srita. Prakitim, material nature. See that? If you take shelter of this prakriti, Maya, that's what we do. Those who are thus bewildered are attracted by demonic and atheistic views. In that deluded condition, their hopes for liberation, their fruitive activity, culture of knowledge are all defeated. So you cannot work with Maya, that's in short. You cannot. And that's what everybody is doing. Everybody's friend is the mind, and the mind's close friend is the what? Mind. Yeah, how we are all functioning? We are functioning with what? Our mind. And our mind is attracted to mind. and we go with Maya, this will be the end result. That's why the Vedic scriptures, they never bring the mind into any kind of a consultation. Did you find one verse that you please consult your mind? Is there a verse like that? It has no mention of the mind at all, correct? Yes, no mention. Don't bring your mental nonsense here. Drive away your mental speculation. Jnana priyasham udapasya, throw away your mental nonsense. Correct? So mentally is a disqualification. And that's what it is going to do. The mind will try, you try this, you try that, maybe this, maybe that. That's how it is working. The burden. We're trying to solve the problem by, just like you, all of you IT people, what do you do? You do what? Finding what? Solution, right? Is it not? Oh, maybe this way can, maybe that way will break the code, this way, that way. It's a crazy thing. Is it not? It's how the mind is working. The mind is correct? All acting on the mental plane. And it is a disqualification. It is a, and not disqualification, it is an entanglement. It what? Entangles and entangles and entangles. And among all kind of entanglement, the topmost entanglement, what is that? What? 11, 16. Yeah. What is the topmost entanglement? Huh? Come on, this we must know by heart, you know. Huh? I think it was 11, 8. The topmost entanglement. The two places, I think is 11.8 or 11.7. I think it's 7, is it? 11.7.
11, 14, 30.
Yeah, I know the 14 one, but the 7 or 8, there's one also. What among all kind of attachment?
14, 30, 3, 31, 35.
11, 14.
30.
11, 14, 35.
30.
13.
30.
20.
303.
30. Of all kinds of suffering and bondage arising from various attachment, none is greater than the suffering and bondage arising from attachment to women or from intimate contact with those attached to women. This is the topmost attachment.
How to many things the mind is very difficult to control.
There's another one, no? It's somewhere on the 8th, or the 7th. Woman with remember. Eleven eight seven and 1188. How he can fall for the, fail to control the senses, immediately feel the attraction upon seeing a woman's form. So this is this more appropriate. So among all kinds of suffering and bondage arising from various attachments, none is greater than the suffering and bondage arising from attached to women or from intimate contact with those attached to women. I think there's another verse in 3:30, is it? 3:31, 35. So here, the infatuation and bondage which accrue to a man from attachment to any other object is not as complete as that of resulting from attachment to a woman out of the fellowship of man or found a woman. Exactly the same verse. So you can see from this attachment, then the person falls into the trap of getting into the consciousness of materially what? Only working for the material, me and my platform. The moment he gets entangled with a woman, then that's it. He is only thinking of material. All the material. I need this, I need that, I need this, I need so many things. Mind, this is his, this is how the soul gets completely bewildered. And I showed that first. This is how it works, no? In this verse, he showed this many times. When a living entity thinking himself different from me, forgets his spiritual identity of quality, oneness with me, in eternity, knowledge and belief, his material condition life begins. In other words, instead of identifying with his interest with mind, he becomes interested in bodily expansion. Why? Children and material possession. In this way, by the influence of his action, one body comes from another and another death takes place. So you see how the loop. Yes, because of attachment. That's why it says, Krishna himself says, here in this verse, and this verse, you see, the one very important thing that Krishna is explaining. So this is the verse that Krishna is saying. One who has fixed me within his mind as the goal of life should give up activities based on self-gratification and should instead execute work governed by the regulated principle for advancement. When, however, one is fully engaged in searching out for the ultimate truth of the soul, one should not accept the scriptural injunctions governing fruitive activities. The point. You understand? That we should not get entangled with karma, fruitive activity. And we should try to become more Krishna conscious. And that can only happen if we take a spiritual master. And it is very important here. This is the only way we can, come out of this entanglement. One who has accepted me as the supreme goal of life should strictly observe the scriptural injunctions forbidding sinful activities, and as far as possible should execute the injunctions prescribing minor regulative duties such as cleanliness. Ultimately, however, one should approach a bona fide spiritual master who is in full knowledge of me as I am, who is peaceful and who by spiritual elevation is not different from me. This is the turning point of the soul. Of course, you should observe the mind. When Krishna is speaking of regulated principles such as cleanliness, in other words, he is asking us to come in the mode of goodness. Because only in the mode of goodness, then you can go to the transcendental level. And that only through the mercy of a pure devotee. So if you want to break this entanglement, we have to get knowledge, to know where our faults are, where we're going wrong, where we are going wrong, right? Because when you go this way, you always have many obstacles. Sense gratification doesn't mean that it's a smooth road, Everything becomes rosy. It's not like that. Sense gratification also has got many obstacles on the path. Right? So when all these obstacles are coming, he is bewildered. I think this whole chapter is in 5th canto, 13th chapter. A whole description of the soul, how he is trying to materially make it. You can read the whole chapter there. Right? You can go and see 5:13. He's trying this, he's trying that, sometimes he's doing this, sometimes he's doing that. The whole chapter is describing the entanglement of that soul. Yes? Yes or no? I guess we can go, we can see. This is how it started with this whole thing. I think it's 5:14 or 5:13.
5:14 is forest.
Forest of enjoyment, no? See how his entanglement gets him all worked up. When King Parikshit asked Sukadeva Goswami about the direct meaning of the material forest, Sukadeva Goswami replied as follows: My dear king, a man belonging to the mercantile community, is always interested in earning money. Sometimes they enter the forest to acquire some cheap commodities like wood and earth and sell them in the city at good prices. Similarly, the conditioned soul, being greedy, enters the material world for some material profit. Gradually he enters in the deepest part of the forest, not really knowing how to get out. See that? This is how it works. Having entered the material world, the pure soul becomes conditioned by the material atmosphere, which is created by the external energy, under the control of Lord Vishnu. Thus, the living entity comes under the control of the external energy, Devi Maya. Living independently and bewildered in the forest, he does not attain the association of devotees who always engage in the service to the Lord. Once in the bodily conception, he gets different types of body, one after another, under the influence of material energy, impelled by the modes of material nature, Sattva Gun, Raja Gun and Tama Gun. In this way, his conditioned soul goes sometimes to heavenly planet, sometimes to earthly planet, sometimes to lower planet and lower species. Thus he suffers continuously due to different types of bodies. This suffering and pains are sometimes mixed, sometimes they are severe and sometimes they are not. These bodily conditions are acquired due to the conditioned soul's mental speculation. He uses his mind and 5 senses to acquire knowledge, and this brings about different bodies and different conditions. Using the senses under the control of the external energy Maya, the living entity suffers the miserable conditions of material existence. He is actually searching for relief, but is generally baffled. Although sometimes the relief of the great difficulty, struggling for existence in this way, he cannot get the shelter of pure devotee who are like bumblebees engaged in loving service of Lord Sri the Lord Vishnu. Is that? This verse sums up. Of course, it goes on. This whole chapter is, forest of material enjoyment. In the forest of material existence, the uncontrolled senses are like plunderers. The conditioned soul may earn some money for the advancement of Krishna consciousness, but unfortunately the uncontrolled senses plunder his money through sense gratification. The senses are plunderers because they make one spend his money unnecessarily for seeing, smelling, tasting, touching, hearing, desiring and willing. In this way, the conditioned soul is obliged to gratify his senses, and thus all his money is spent. The money is actually acquired for execution of religious principle, but it is taken away by the plundering senses. Yes. See, he tried to make it used for Krishna's service. My dear King, family members in this material world go under the names of wife and children, but actually they behave like tigers and jackals. Pretty strong word, Right? You're falling in love with the tiger and jackals. A herdsman tries to protect his sheep to the best of his ability, but the tigers and foxes take them away by force. Similarly, although a miserly man wants to guard his money very carefully, his family members take away all his assets forcefully, even though he is very vigilant. Right? This verse is very nice. Hindi poet has sung, Din ka dakini rat ka bhagini, palak palak lahu juice. During daytime, the wife is compared to a witch, and at night is compared to tigers. Her only business is sucking the blood of her husband both day and night. During the day, they have household expenditures, and the money earned by the husband at the cost of his blood is taken away. At night, due to sex pleasure, the husband discharged blood in the form of semen. In this way, he bled by his wife both day and night. Yet he is so crazy that he very carefully maintains her. Hare Krishna. See? Every year the plowman plows over his grain field, completely uprooting all weeds. Nonetheless, the seeds lie there and not being completely burned, again come up with the plants sown in the field. Even after being plowed under the weeds, some come up densely. Similarly, the Grihastha ashram, family life, is a field of fruitive activity. Unless the desire to enjoy family life is completely burned out, it grows up again and again. Even though camphor may be removed from a pot, the pot nonetheless retains the aroma of comfort. As long as the seeds of desire are not destroyed, fruitive activities are not destroyed. Tango, this is how I think. Sometimes the conditioned soul in household life, being attached to material wealth and possession, is disturbed by envious men who are like, what is this, gadflies, and mosquitoes, and sometimes is troubled by thieves who are locusts and birds of prey and rats. Nonetheless, he still wanders down the path of material existence. Due to ignorance, he becomes lusty and engaged in fruitive activities. Because his mind is absorbed in this activity, he sees the material world as permanent, and although it is temporary like Phantasmagoria, a house in the sky. Sometimes in this house, in the sky, Gandharva Pura, the conditioned soul drinks, eats and accepts. When overly attached, he chases after the object of senses, just like a deer chases a mirage in the desert. So this whole chapter is describing how one is entangled materially. Sometimes the living entity interested in the yellow soul known as gold and runs after it. That gold is the source of material opulence and envy, and it can enable one to have fun, illicit sex, gambling, meat eating, and intoxication. Those whose minds are overcome by the mode of passion are attracted by the color of gold, just as a man suffering from cold in the forest runs after prosperous light in the mesh lamp, considering it to be fire. This is how this entanglement works. Sometimes the conditioned soul is absorbed in finding residential quarters or apartments and getting a supply of water and riches to maintain his body. Absorbed in acquiring a variety of necessity, he forgets everything and perpetually runs around the forest for material existence. Sometimes, as if blinded by the dust of a whirlwind, the conditioned soul sees the opposite beauty of the opposite side, which is called pramada, thus bewildered. He is raised upon the lap of woman at the time his good senses are overcome by the force of passion. It thus becomes almost blind with lusty desires and disobeys the rules and regulations governing sex life. He does not know that his disobedience is witnessed by different demigods and enjoys its sex in the dead of night, not seeing the future punishment awaiting him. See how everything is very, very messed up. The conditioned soul sometimes personally appreciates the futility of sense enjoyment in the material world, and he sometimes considers material enjoyment to be full of misery. However, due to his strong bodily conception, his memory is destroyed, and again he runs after material enjoyment, just as the animal runs after Viraj. So you see, the whole chapter is describing how the conditioned soul is perplexed by getting entangled materially. The only way out of this, that if we can turn his face to Krishna. This is the only solution. Cannot escape Maya, however way you try. Later on he will be little bit interested spiritually because he is so much conditioned by Maya. He will meet people who are man-made gods. This chapter. And then again he gets bewildered. Or sometimes he meets the devotee because he cannot follow. Again he gets bewildered. See? I mean, Maya is not some lightweight, Simply you come only everything, you have to surrender. You have to. And what whole thing is, the solution is to go to a bona fide spiritual master. And not just that you go, many people also come, but why they cannot make it? Because you don't surrender. You can see over here, I think it is 11, what is that? I'm sorry, 5:13, that they can't maintain their principles. You can see here. So here, the pseudo Swamis, yogis and incarnation who do not believe in the Supreme Personality of Godhead are known as Pashandis. They themselves are fallen and cheated because they do not know the real path of spiritual advancement. And whoever goes to them is certainly cheated in his turn. When one is thus cheated, he sometimes takes shelter of the real followers of Vedic principle, Brahmanas or those in Krishna consciousness, who teach everyone how to worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead according to Vedic ritual. However, being unable to stick to this principle, these rascals again fall down and take shelter among Sudras who are very expert in making arrangements for sex indulgence. Sex is very prominent among animals like monkeys, that people are enlivened by sex may be called descendants of monkeys. See that's the thing? They come, and because they cannot follow, then again they fall down. See? So you see, this requires a lot of, it is a two-way thing, you have to surrender. And you have to follow the rules given by the spiritual master. And if you come and you don't want to follow, you want to do your thing, then how is it possible? And again you will be interested in what? Sex. Actually, this is only due to offenses. This is the main thing of leaving the society is because of offending the Lord and the pure devotee. Then a person again gets all his material desires. The moment he offends the devotee, again his material desires will crop up again. You see here? Well, that's first the day before. 35. 70. It says here, 25, what is that? $72. So you see here, this is what happens. If a person considered liberated in this life commits offences against the reservoir of inconceivable potency, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he will again fall down and desire material atmosphere for material enjoyment. See? So this is due to offences. So when we offend, then he'll again come back, the same thing will happen in the heart again. You follow? So therefore we should be very careful when we are associating with devotees. Associating with devotees is the cure for this problem. But if we offend, then we go back again to the same nonsense. Correct? I also quoted another verse that one should always consult the spiritual master at all times, at all places, in all circumstances. It is in this 25. Very important point here, that one without a spiritual master, then he is finished. Jai Shri Radha. So we have to understand, I think it's in 25 somewhere. If someone can find for me. So this is a very important point. Spiritually, if we want to come out of this entanglement, we cannot do it by shifting the burden. It is not possible. Only way is to throw the burden out. Or change the burden into Krishna consciousness. And the concession is made here by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as we discussed. If you can stay, no problem, provided you preach Krishna consciousness. 25, 122. This verse here, see? It is therefore the duty of every man in every country, in every circumstance, and all times to approach a bona fide spiritual master and question him about the devotional service and listen to him explain the process. Huh? If you don't do this, then there is no way out. There is no. You cannot make. There's a spiritual master questioning him about devotional service and listen to him explain the process. Then yes. A person interested in transcendental knowledge must therefore always directly and indirectly inquire about it to know about the all-prevailing truth. There is a question from Srimad Bhagavatam 2.9.36. It is about the fourth verse of the Chatusloki for an explanation, Sri Adi Leela, chapter 1, text 56. So our whole program is to somehow or other get a bona fide spiritual master, take association and devotees. Then yes, Krishna will relieve us from all this entanglement. Only by the mercy of the pure devotee and Krishna. There is no other shortcut to this process. That's why Narada Muni said that if you are having a bad dream, you cannot solve the bad dream by having a good hallucination. The only way is to wake up. When you wake up, oh, what a bad dream I had. Correct? Same way, Bhaktivinoda Thakur also is singing, right? The song, Jeev Jago, Gaurachandra Bole, Koda Nidra, Yao Maya, Pisache Kole. How long you want to sleep on the lap of Maya? Wake up and chant the name of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. There's no other way out of this solution. You can try and try. In fact, we are trying for many, many births already. If you think you want to keep trying, no problem. Krishna let you have a what? Free will. Yesterday's class on what? Free will. Paying a heavy price for the wrong decision. Yes. The solution? Take shelter of the spiritual master. From him get the knowledge. Serve him submissively. Inquire from him. And that way he will give you the mercy how to come out of that. I think the first thing he does is that he clean up. You take away all your karma. First thing he does is what? Because of karma we are suffering, correct? Takes away. Alright, no more. You start clean. And he gives you Divya Gyan knowledge. Okay, now you start clean. Chant, taking prasadam, associating with devotees, one thing after another, and then you develop full attraction for Krishna. This is the method. There's no other method. No other solution. That's why it says, you try anything else. In fact, there's another verse. the material thing you try is more painful than the process. No? 7, 9 something, is it?
7, 9, 7.
7, 9, 17. O Great One, O Supreme Lord, because of contact with displeasing circumstances and separation from pleasing circumstances, one is placed in the most regrettable position. On heavenly or hellish planet, as if burning in a fire of lamentation. Although there are many remedies which to get out of miserable life, any such remedies in the material world are more miserable than the miseries themselves. Therefore, I think that the only remedy is to engage in your service. Kindly instruct me in such service. Period. You try anything else, you will become more miserable than the misery itself. That's why Krishna says, Dukhalyam Asasa. Cannot change that. The living entity is brought to this material world for one purpose. To understand that he made a big mistake, reform, take shelter of the bona fide process and go back home, back to God. This is not our place. It cannot make it our place. However you try, it's not possible. Correct? You can try. You can build a castle, you can build a fortress, but you cannot escape that. However you try, you cannot. And when death comes, everything is zero. You have to leave behind everything and go to the next destination. Correct? So please think carefully. That's why Krishna said, you surrender to me. Abandon all varieties of dharma and just surrender unto me. I will take care of everything, deliver you from all sinful reaction, and take you home. Don't fear. Don't worry, say Ma Sucha. Right? That's all. So please understand this process. And even if you do it, Krishna is so kind, even you don't complete it also. Even if you don't complete, still Krishna says no problem. Right? Even he said you do little bit also, no problem. How kind he is. Correct? A little endeavor will save you from the greatest danger. See how much Krishna is coming down to, okay, never mind, never mind, never mind. Still, not attached to our thing, our burden. Correct? We don't want to give up. No. I'll try. I'll just try this way. Maybe my last try. I'll try this thing. I'll try that thing. Nothing will work. All right. So, any further comments on this?
Verse 11, 10, 4. In that stating that one should not accept the spiritual injunction governing fruit.
Governing? Fruitive activity, yeah.
The last spiritual injunctions to govern fruitive activity also.
Yeah, that is called in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Traigunya Vishaya Veda. Nice Traigunya Bhavarjuna. What was that? 245. This is the other scriptural injunction. That means 45. Injunctions tell you how to get entangled karma kanda. Fruitive activity is karma. So these are the instruction in the Vedas that teach you how to do karma kanda activities. So Krishna says we should not involve in that. Okay? The Vedas deal mainly with subject of the three modes of control nature. O Arjuna, become transcendental to the three modes. Be free from all dualities and all anxieties for gain and safety, and be established in the self.
So are they in the mode of goodness, Prabhu, those who follow the karma kanda?
No. Karma kanda you see here is dealing with the three modes of bundle nature. Karma kanda means activities to get material benefits. You know, worshipping this demigod, worshipping that demigod to get this facility, that facility. It is there in the Vedas, you know. You do this yajna, you do that yajna, you get this, you get that. So that's why Krishna is telling, come out of this, don't do this. Go above the Vedas. Of course, the Vedas also speaking about devotional service. The three things are there. Karma kanda, jnana kanda and upasana kanda. But most people are attracted to the karma kanda part because it promises promotion to heaven, where you can enjoy so many facilities, so they are attracted to that. But that's why Krishna is saying you go above that, Arjuna. So in that 11:10:4, he's telling don't go into that kind of scriptural injunction. Okay? We should. That's why that portion I haven't finished, but I was trying to explain that. 5, 6. I did 5. Yeah? I showed 5. See here 6. So he said you must take a spiritual master. So this action of a spiritual master, disciple should be free from false prestige, never consider himself as a doer. He should feel enmity toward no one. He should be active and never lazy. He should give up all sense of proprietorship over the objective senses, including his wife, children, home, and society. He should be endowed with feelings of loving friendship toward the spiritual master. He should never become deviated or bewildered. Servant or disciple should always desire advancement in spiritual understanding. He should not envy anyone and should always avoid useless conversation. These are the qualities of a disciple. One should see one's real self-interest in all circumstances and should therefore remain detached from wife, children, home, land, relatives, friends, and wealth, and so on. Just as fire which burns and illuminates is different from firewood which is to be burnt to give illumination, similarly the seer within the body, the self-enlightened spirit soul is different from the material body which is to be illuminated by consciousness. Thus the spirit soul and the body possess different characteristics and are separate entities. The spiritual master can be compared to the lower kindling stick, the disciple to be upper kindling stick, and the instruction given by the Guru to be the third stick placed in between. The transcendental knowledge communicated from Guru to disciple is compared to the fire arising from the contact of this which burns the darkness of ignorance to ashes, bringing great happiness to both Guru and disciple. This is all. The spiritual master, is it fire, you know how they do fire? 2 sticks, they, correct? And then as the thing is sparking, they put the third fuel, some dry. So then the fire will start. So this is what it is. Transcendental knowledge communicated from Guru to his disciple is compared to the fire rising from the contact of this friction, which burns the darkness of ignorance to ashes, bringing great happiness to both Guru and disciple. You follow this point? So when we are stuck in this material consciousness, the only hope is this, to get the fire from in form of knowledge from the spiritual master. Then, yes, then we become happiness for both, not only one side. By submissively hearing from an expert spiritual master, the expert disciple develops pure knowledge which repels the onslaught of material illusion arising from the 3 modes of material nature. Finally, this pure knowledge itself ceases just as fire ceases when the stock of fuel has been consumed. When we become self-realized, then that's it. Happiness to the spiritual master as well. It is not that the disciple is making progress, the spiritual master becomes sad. No, he is very happy. And person is becoming enlightened. And the whole thing, then the whole thing is finished. The material attachment is all gone. So then Krishna explains further, all the philosophers who are giving all kind of the 6 philosophy and all that kind of knowledge is not sustaining. Speaking about, of course he will go on to explain self-gratification, promotion to heavenly planet and all that. It's all not very liberating. Only way out of this mess, take shelter. That's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came. Simple, no complications, so many philosophies. Just chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram. Worship Him, chant Hare Krishna. Stay in your place. No need to worry about, giving up wife, family, children. All it's like a nightmare. You understand? Not even nightmare, heart attack. You understand it is, although they do so many nonsense, but just to get out. What to speak about you, Prabhupada? When Bhaktisiddhanta came in the dream, pulling him by the hair to ask him to take sannyas, he was in shock. Prabhupada. Of course, it's different. He has to teach us. So the whole idea, it is very entangling, So to leave that entanglement is also a very big thing. You follow? So it is not so easy. So that's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, you stay where you are, you chant and you preach. That's all. Solution. You preach Krishna consciousness. Yare deka tare kaha Krishna upadesh. Hamara ajnana Guru ena tara hai desh. Why you put the word desh? That means he knows many places. Wherever you are, you preach. Like now, there's a search in people wanting to know what is the purpose of life. Because death is right at their door. Yes? They're seeing this person dying, that person dying, he's dying, everybody dying. They are finally realizing, I am also going to die. Correct? So they are coming Where's this Bhagavad Gita? Let me find this book. Correct? Like this now. They will come to Krishna, but because he cannot follow, again he will give up and he will go. At the point. So anyway, I think we should try to expand the preaching as many languages as we can, to as many people as we can. That will help them tremendously. I think we have started classes in Hindi language. It's spurring everyone, and then we have started one in Telugu language, yes. We started another one in Philippines language. So we have requests in different languages, and people want to hear it. So our duty is to make many devotees who can preach widely, as far as possible, to expand this knowledge. And if they hear, then their life becomes successful. If they just hear one word that Krishna is the only person can save us, they are successful. Yes, many people don't know that, although you are a little bored, I am explaining it over and over again. But there are many people who don't know this, that Krishna is the solution. Many, they don't know. You understand? So we need to reach out. And by good arrangement, the scientists thank them, they have created all these gadgets for us to exploit them and use it for mass distribution. Everyone, all of you, simple, it's not difficult. The knowledge is there. You have to show. And Krishna is saying, what is saying? You surrender to me, I will take care of everything for you. Don't worry. Yes? Yes or not? People don't know. It's like today's world, you don't know, because he's having a bad dream. He's having a nightmare. He doesn't know how to solve the problem. He has to wake up. Hey, wake up, wake up. Oh, thank God I am dreaming. So we need to wake them up. And you can only wake people up with transcendental knowledge. Not acting like a professional guru or life coach, and this is all won't work. Life coaches all, you have to go to a bona fide spiritual master to learn. And that comes with a price. Surrender, and service is important. And service. 3 things you have to do. It's not just, he will dish out. And then you surrender. That will not happen. Krishna will not reveal himself unless. Yes, we surrender and we must become what? His devotee and his friend. Good thing. Otherwise Krishna is not obligated to give all this information. Yeah, you carry on. He will bewilder you. Even you read Bhagavad Gita also you can get bewildered. There are so many people reading Bhagavad Gita. Correct? Why they are not finding out the solution? Why? Why is Krishna bewildering them? No, I am reading this book. It says Krishna ultimately is Brahman. Correct? Why? Because Krishna bewilders your consciousness. Krishna is in the heart. He has written Bhagavad Gita in such a way, it will appeal to any guy who reads it. You cannot beat him. You understand? You go and preach to them? No. Krishna said the Bhagavad Gita is ultimately Brahman. You know true? Yes? Have you come across? I have come across. You will take out. You see this word? You see Brahman. See? Krishna is in control. He can bewilder your consciousness. Only solution is surrender. Then, yeah, I will reveal everything to you. Correct? Then, 7.1. What?
No. This one, Hiradas is saying, no,
Oh.
wait.
Coming. Prabhupada spoke this verse so many times, right? Huh? Every time he give verse, this class. Huh? See how many verses? Not even coming at all. Where am I?
No, that.
Sorry.
Hold on, down. No,
Where? Oh, here.
this is Bhava.
This is Bhagavad. Wow, goodness, very good. Class.
No, next.
Oh, yeah.
Next.
Okay, anyway, please here. Now here, O son of Prita Arjuna, now how by practicing yoga and full consciousness of me with mind attached to me, you can know me in full, free from. See? Understand? Why here you can hear free from doubt? Why the others are getting so much doubt? What? Same book. Why the difference? Because one is coming from authorized parampara. Other one is not authorized. I remember when I was starting Krishna consciousness, I went to the shop to find out. There's only this Ramakrishna Bhagavad Gita. Of course I didn't buy it. You know? But, and inside that book, what he says? God is impersonal. In fact, many people say this Bhagavad Gita I bought, it's very confusing. Yeah? You read?
No, I have heard people believe that.
Yeah, very confusing book. Huh? Why is it so clear for us? Why is it confusing? Because you must hear from the human devotee. The same book. Same book. So you must hear from people. That's a solution. Cannot come out of this material world. Even you may wake up, you must be waken up by who? Om Agyana Timiran Dasya Jnanam Jnana. You must be woken up by the pure. You cannot wake up yourself. That's not possible. Yes? Alright, we will stop here. Any further questions?
Hiradas is saying that now Vivek Bindra,
I don't know.
he is from ISKCON.
Oh.
He made one video about Prabhupada, how Prabhupada is genius and all that. And after that, actually he is a business motivation speaker. How to do business. So he is teaching business yoga from Bhagavad Gita.
Business yoga.
And in collaboration with ISKCON.
Our whole class is to give up business.
And it seems, in ISKCON they are actually asking all the devotees to sign up for this course.
Yesterday I could get them. ISKCON Durga.
ISKCON Durga. I quoted 11:10:4, correct? Yes?
ISKCON is organizing business yoga from Vivek Bindra.
Not even dressed as a devotee.
No. But he is a so-called devotee.
I think you please sign up. Yeah? Please, Prabhu, sign up. We will teach you from Bhagavad Gita. I don't know which verse you can point to support this.
1848.
Huh?
1848.
1848.
No, not only that, third chapter now. Must work, otherwise you cannot maintain your body also.
Yeah. Oh. Immediately after that, Krishna says. After saying that, Krishna immediately, Krishna is smart. He says, but if you don't work for me, you will be finished. Yeah? See how Krishna is not a fool. Yeah. He quoted 1848. And just after that, what he says? Huh? If you don't listen to me, you will be finished. He said to Arjuna, you are free to act whatever you free. Next verse. But you don't listen to me, you will finish. First, what is that? Yata chasi tata kuru. Whatever you want to do, you do. Next verse. What is that?
Actually, no. Few verses before.
Yes. But you don't listen to me, forget it, Arjuna. You are not going home either. Forget it. Understand? There is a but, you understand? So here he is trying to, misrepresent. Where is that business yoga? Is there such a word? Is there such a word called business yoga? Huh? Yoga means linking to the Lord. Huh? And business is what business? Business means what? Karma. Huh? Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, a bhakti yogi is better than karma yogi, is better than in all circumstances Arjuna become a bhakti yogi. So how about this yoga?
They are diluting the whole concept of philosophy.
Huh?
They are talking about materials, going out of materials number to spiritual. And the person who can wake us up is the spiritual master who is not in this material mode. From time immemorial, we are in this avidya, ignorance, and false ego. Right from, I don't know which sarga and visarga, we are transmigrating in different bodies. We have to get out of that actually. All the anarthas are because of avidya only, ignorance.
The more and more you entangle in all this kind of thing, you will get deeper engrossed. Making money is a big, what we say, entanglement. You understand? So all this kind of nonsense, I sign up for all brahmacharis will go and sign up for this. After he finishes business yoga, he will get some business with some other person. Then the entanglement starts.
They are diluting the whole concept only. They are diluting the whole concept only.
They are not diluting, Prabhu. They are misconstructing. Completely off tangent. The whole Bhagavad Gita is talking about renunciation and attachment for Krishna. You follow? You see Bhagavad Gita chapter 6 text 2. There's no way you can practice any yoga with sense gratification. Is that? What is called renunciation, you should know to be the same as yoga, linking oneself with the Supreme. O son of Pandu, for one can never become a yogi unless he renounces the desire for sense gratification. Clear? And this guy is teaching what? Increase your sense gratification. Anyone can understand this, right? You show me one verse that no, do some business yoga. Tell me, in the Bhagavad Gita, is there a verse?
Yeah, Tasma Sarvesh Kalash. You do your work and at the same time remember me.
No. That verse is not correct. Krishna said first you think of me and then do your work.
Okay, then do, okay. I will
But where are you thinking of Krishna? If you're going to do this kind of work, you will forget Krishna.
No, they say it's sandwich program.
Sandwich.
Yeah. So morning sadhana. In the day, from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. work fully. And 9 p.m. to like 10:30 again reading and all. So spiritual life, material life, spiritual life, sandwich program. This is like envelope your life with Krishna consciousness. Morning is night. In the middle, it's a practical way of Krishna consciousness.
Yes, provided you don't get sandwiched completely. You can ask him. He's sandwiched. He's trying. You can ask him.
Toast.
Sandwich.
Toast.
Can ask them all. You're not sandwiched.
Toast.
Toast. Not toast. Toasted. You follow? You cannot try to do this sandwich program if you don't have very strong association. Maya is not lightweight. In fact, Prahlad is saying, I'm not frightened of your form, my dear Lord. I'm more frightened of your Maya. You understand? The Maya can be one very bewildering. Correct? Yes. And money, when you touch money, the greed comes in. Correct? And many bad qualities come in. And you want to do more, you want to do more, you want to do more, you don't want to come out. Prabhu, it is not a sandwich program. It is what? It is a program to finish you. You will get squeezed out, finish. Maya, that's why it is Maya, you have to keep her at distance. Even Lord Shiva is frightened of Maya. What about you and me? Lord Shiva associates Maya when she is performing a duty, he associates with her at a distance. Lord Shiva is associating with Maya at a distance, and you want to embrace Maya? Wow. I think you will become the next Lord Shiva. You are more powerful than Lord Shiva, I think. Yes? What? Correct? You put one snake on your head and go to work. Yes? Huh? I mean, look, those people who are, that means this guy, what he's teaching is that all these brahmacharis, all the vanaprasthas and sannyasis are wasting their time.
He has, and now you see 16.4 million subscribers on YouTube. 16.4 million.
Let him have 600 million. No, let him have 600 million, because that is what the masses want. All the masses, that's why Krishna said, Bahunam Janmanam Ante, Manusyanam Sahasreshu Kaschid Yatati Siddhaya Yatatiyapi Siddhanam Kaschid Mam Veti Tattvata. Among all those who want perfection, at least one will know me. So this is for the Bahunam Janmanam Ante. It is not for the masses. Because if you say, don't say this, if you just show some naked movie, how many views you will get? I think much more than this guy. Yes or no? Correct? Then that's what the masses want. The masses, they want. The masses, they want sense gratification. The whole subject today by Narada Muni, what is that? To wake up the masses like this. But if you're going to put this, see this verse. If one is serious about going back to Godhead, home back to Godhead, he must consider the mercy of the Supreme Personality of God as the summum bonum and chief aim of life. If he is a father instructing son, the spiritual master instructing disciple, the king instructing his citizens, he must instruct them as I have advised. Without being angry, he should continue giving instruction. Even if his disciple, son or citizen is sometimes unable to follow his order. Ignorant people who are engaged in pious and impious activities should be engaged in devotional service by all means. They should avoid fruitive activity. If one puts into bondage of karmic activities, disciple, son or citizen who is bereft of transcendental vision, how will one profit? It is like leading a blind man to a dark well and causing him to fall in. Please send this quote to this guy. Please send this quote to him. This is what it is. Yes? 2 times it says. In another place, the same thing. A pure devotee who is fully accomplished in the science of devotional service will never instruct a foolish person to engage in fruitive activities for material enjoyment. Not to speak of helping him in such activities. Such a devotee is like an experienced physician who will never encourage a patient to eat food injurious to his health, even if the patient desires it. This is spoken by the Lord. Fruitive activity is never encouraged in any part of the... I think we quoted that verse by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, right? Huh? He was speaking to the Tattvavadis. I think it's 10, is it? Huh? 9, maybe 9, yeah. Fruitive activity is condemned in all structure. All shastras never encourage anyone to do fruitive work. Correct? He's speaking to the Tattvavadis, I think it's 9 something, 9169, is it? Yeah? Anyway, common sense. You are working day and night. You like to increase that? Huh?
The idea is, don't want to increase. Work less, earn more. Save time for self-realization.
To work less and earn more. Huh? How much you getting attacked? Correct? Yes, in the end, you're working more and earning less. Trying to do more. That's greed. Yes? And you cannot control greed. There's no way you can conquer greed. These are the 3 gateways to hell. What is that? Moha? No. Lobha. Please don't change Bhagavad Gita. Kam, Krodh and Lobha. Understand? Not moha, lobha, greed. And greed comes with what? Sense gratification. The more you want, the more you want, the more you want, the more you want. Yes? So please try to understand, all this nonsense invention is to flowing in with the what? Why is only getting 16 million? He should get 60 million. And when we speak the truth, you don't even get 10 guys. When we are speaking the truth, how many guys we get? No? Not even 10 guys. $16 million and 10 guys, what's the ratio, Prabhu? No, Prabhu, you are not bona fide. Here we are showing the scripture. Oh no, you are not one of it. I don't know which scripture you are showing. Is it? So Kali Yuga. Whatever is religion will become irreligion. Whatever is irreligion will become religion. This is what's going on. Yes? Yeah. What? I saw what is business yoga. I saw one white lady was showing what? Beer yoga. Huh? Beer yoga. Dog yoga. Goat yoga. Prabhu, the word yoga has become something strange. And now he's got this new business yoga. And ISKCON is out asking everybody to become, because the gurus, they want everyone to become a grihastha. Why? Because everybody will be earning and he can earn some commission. What's that? Oh, sorry, the wrong word. Dakshin.
Slip of the tongue.
Understand? Dakshin. That's what it is. Correct? So, all glories. Okay, we will stop here. Any other questions inside the thing? No one.